Hi, welcome to the first explainer lecture of this channel. So, in today's video explaining, we will understand the new UGC equity guidelines, which you must be aware there is a lot of protest against this UGC guidelines. So, today we'll try to understand what is so wrong or what is so right about these guidelines. Now, to start with, let us understand what is the objective of these laws. The rules are University Grant Commission, Promotion of Equity in Higher Education Institute, Regulation of 2026. Now, the objective of these rules are obviously to eradicate discrimination. Now, remember, we will define discrimination. This rule have defined discrimination. They want to eradicate, that is, they want to remove discrimination on the basis of religion, race, gender, place of birth, caste, or disability. Now, till now, when they say caste, they means all caste, irrespective of any SC, ST, or OBC. But because of the past experiences or the past of our nation, these objectives or these rules, they are particularly means Vishesh रूप से. Now, when they say particularly, they do not mean that they only are there to stop the discrimination among these castes. But when they say particularly, they mean they want to focus primarily on these. But it does not mean that they will focus only on these. So, particularly against member of SC, ST, socially, educationally backward classes, economical weaker section, person with disabilities, or any of them, and to promote equity and inclusion among the stakeholders. So, another term, equity, we are going to define in this particular rules, and the term stakeholder, again, we are going to define in these rules. Now, these definitions are important because whenever a law is applied, that law is governed by its own definition first. And if any definition or any word does not have a meaning, then that meaning is taken from any other law. But in this law, we will first focus on the discrimination. Now, in these rules, the discrimination are defined on two criteria. First is your general discrimination, and then there is a specific discrimination. Now, let us understand the specific discrimination first. Now, the discrimination which is specific is the caste-based discrimination, which is obviously against the SC, ST, and OBC. Means discrimination only on the basis of caste or tribe. But these rules, they are not only made on for the caste-based discrimination. So therefore, comes the definition of general discrimination or the broader definition of discrimination. So the broader definition is any unfair, differential, or biased treatment or any such act against any stakeholder. Again, remember the term stakeholder is coming again. So this stakeholder terms become important because if any group says that they are being excluded from this act, means they are excluded from the definition of stakeholder. So we will have to understand what the stakeholder means. So discrimination means what? Any act of unfair, differential, or biased treatment against the stakeholder, whether explicit or implicit. That is, whether it is on the face or whether it is hidden, explicit or implicit, on the grounds of religion, race, caste, gender, place of birth, disability, or any of them. Although it would have been better that the language would also have made a part of this grouping, but right now language is not there. So you only have religion, race, caste, gender, place of birth, disability, or any of them. So the term stakeholder becomes very important. So we'll define stakeholder also, and we will try to understand what does or who does stakeholder involves. So before we do that, let us understand the term equity. Now, what does equity mean? So equity according to these rules means again the term stakeholder is coming. So the stakeholder term becomes very important. So you want to provide under equity means providing a level playing field with respect to all the stakeholders so that they are entitled an opportunity for their all legitimate rights. So whatever legitimate rights have been given to them, that is rights given to you under a law, you are given a fair opportunity and you are entitled to those rights. Okay. So let us define. Now let us define. Now let us define the stakeholder. Now here the definition of stakeholder becomes very important because if any exclusion needs to happen, if we need to remove any particular caste group from this rules, then we will have to remove them from the definition of stakeholder. So let us understand the definition of stakeholder. Means a student. Now this definition, this student becomes important because most of the people who are protesting, they are saying that the students of a particular caste group, they will face discrimination because they are not included in this definition. So this means if we will understand the definition of student and they are removed from the definition of student, then means they are right. If not, then they are misinformed. So stakeholder means what? Means a student, faculty member, that is any teacher, professor, anyone, staff, non-teaching staff, and members of the managing committee, including the head of the higher education institute. So now let us define who is a student. Now here comes the important part. A person, again, irrespective of his caste, irrespective of his gender, a person enrolled or seeking to admission to be enrolled. That is, he is a student or he wants to be a student in higher education institute. Now, whether formal, open, distance learning, or online. Now, this is important. When we say stakeholder, we mean student. So, student means everyone, irrespective of their caste. They become stakeholder. And all the discrimination which is there, the definition of discrimination includes the term stakeholder. So, it includes the meaning of student, and student includes the meaning of all students. And equity, we want to provide a level playing field to the stakeholder, not to any particular caste group. Now, let us go through the act itself. Now, the first thing we need to understand the Equal Opportunity Center, which will be established under this rule. Now, Equal Opportunity Centers are nothing but this will be a body which is entrusted with the uh, responsibility of making sure that there is no discrimination happening in the institute. Now, again, because the responsibility is with the Equal Opportunity Center, we need to understand the functions of Equal Opportunity Center. How will the Equal Opportunity Center will function? So we will come to the functions of the this Equal Opportunity Center. Now, first and foremost, again, remember the definition. Remember some basic definition. Remember the basic definition of a student. Remember the basic definition of a stakeholder. Remember the basic definition of a discrimination. At this point of time, either the definition of discrimination, either the definition of stakeholder, and either the definition of the student, they do not remove any particular caste group from the definition. So, what is the function of this Equal Opportunity Center? First and foremost, they want to provide equity. Again, equity includes within the equity, the term stakeholder is used, and equal opportunity at large to higher education institute and bring social inclusion. Again, not a bad thing. You want everybody to be included in a higher education institute. Promote equity among students. Again, remember the definition of student. Eliminate any kind of discrimination. Again, remember the definition of discrimination means all the stakeholders. Create a socially congenial atmosphere, that is where everybody can come together and talk. They can have a healthy discussion. They can have a healthy interpersonal relationship among the student from various social background. Again, nothing to be worried about. It's a good thing. Make effort to sanitize stakeholders. Again, stakeholders means everybody, students, staff, everybody, members of the managing committee. Regarding the social inclusion, they want to make them aware about the social inclusion. You want to sanitize them. You want to tell them the goods and the bads. To help individuals or a group of students belonging to disadvantaged section of the society. Now, disadvantaged section is not defined here. So, it will take its term from the general meaning. To protect an aggrieved person. Now, this aggrieved person definition is also important. So, let us understand the meaning of aggrieved person. Who is the aggrieved person under this law? Again, a person, again, irrespective of his caste, who has any complaint in the matter relating to or connected with the grievance under these regulations. So, these regulations mean the regulations which we are reading right now. And these regulations, they include caste-based discrimination and the general meaning of discrimination. So, again, understand. Let's go back to the functions. Aggrieved person who has faced any reported incident of discrimination, that is not just caste discrimination, any form of discrimination against retaliation, that is he does not face any kind of threat from the people who have discriminated him. To disseminate the information related to schemes and programs for the welfare of the socially disadvantaged section, that is you want to tell them about the different government policies which will be helpful for them, scholarship policies, extra, any kind of policy which is there to help the socially disadvantaged section to come forward. You want to tell them about them. You want to give them the information. Again, not a bad thing. To prepare and disseminate illustrative list of acts that shall be construed as discrimination. Now, this becomes a very important function. So right now, a lot of people who are protesting, they are saying that false cases will be filed against them. Now, it is the duty of the Equal Opportunity Center to make sure that they give them a illustrative list of the act which will be defined as discrimination. So now, for example, treating someone badly, calling them certain kind of names. If that thing is a part of this list of acts, then you know that you don't have to do it because that is construed as a discrimination. So, if any person who follows this list, then there can be no case filed against them under this law. So this becomes important for this Equal Opportunity Center to give them a list, to tell them, okay, you cannot do these things. If you do them, then that will be discrimination. Then to prepare inclusive procedure. Inclusive procedure means a procedure which makes sure that the students who are taking admission, they do not face any kind of disadvantage. That admission procedure should be made simple for them, not simple. It should be made clear to them. Then establish coordination with the government or other agencies, organizations to mobilize academic and financial resources to provide assistance to students belonging to disadvantaged group. That is, you want to help them, you want to mobilize, you want to make sure that there are resources available of the organization which will help. Resources in the terms of academic resources, counseling sessions and all, financial resources, scholarships and all, so that the disadvantaged group do not feel excluded. Again, it's a good thing. It's not a bad thing. This is not a discrimination. To maintain an online portal for reporting any incident of discrimination. Again, this online portal becomes very important because it will help you to file any discrimination case online and to perform such other functions that are necessary for the promotion of equity. Again, the definition of equity. Go back to your definition of equity. It means the stakeholder. Now, the last thing or last few things which you want to understand, how this equity, again, equity is term we use. Remember, go back to the definition of equity. How you will promote equity. Now, this can be another way where you can say that there will be discrimination against any particular caste group. So, we need to understand how equity will be promoted. Again, remember all the definitions which we have covered. Now, higher education institute will ensure that all students, irrespective of their caste, while taking admission or renewal of admission, and all faculty members and staff furnish an undertaking to the effect that they will promote equity and they will not indulge himself or her in any form of discrimination. That is not just caste-based discrimination. Now, if here they would have mentioned caste-based discrimination, then you could have said that okay, only SC, ST, OBCs are covered. What about the caste discrimination among the remaining general group? Although there is no such thing as general category, but the term here uses discrimination, which includes the term stakeholder, which includes the term student. Student means everybody. Regulation and equity shall be also prominently made available on their website. And before starting of any academic session, the head of the institute shall convene and address all the functionaries, hostel warden, student, parent, guardian, faculty, police, administration, to a orientation program. Now, what will this orientation program will be? To discuss and measure to promote equity among the stakeholder. Again, everybody is included here. Also to create awareness about this regulation and record this orientation program and post it on your website. Then ensure that the selection, segregation and allocation for the purpose of hostel, classroom, mentorship group or any other academic purpose are transparent, fair and non-discriminatory. Basically, the resources of the higher education institute should be distributed in a transparent, fair and non-discriminatory manner. Again, I don't think so it's a bad thing. Promote equity. Higher education shall promote display of posters at appropriate places. So, promote equity. Again, equity means what? For the stakeholders. A level playing field for stakeholders. Stakeholder means everybody. Higher education shall engage and seek assistance of professional counselors for counseling of students, faculty, member of staff. Important thing is that these counseling is available for every student, whether they are aggrieved or not, whether they have faced any discrimination or not. Counseling of student. Go back to the definition of student. It includes everybody. Higher education institute shall implement various guidelines issued from time to time by the University Grant Commission to promote equity. Again, very simple function. Finally, any student, faculty member or staff, whether a victim or a witness to any incident of discrimination, again the term discrimination is used here, not just caste-based discrimination, any discrimination. Discrimination, again, anyone for anything, shall be encouraged to report such occurrence and their identity shall be protected to face them from any backlash. So that there is no retaliation amongst them. And even if still you feel that there could be false cases filed against a certain caste group, so let us understand how the procedure is going to be. Aggrieved person, again, we have gone through the definition of aggrieved person. It includes a person. It can be of any caste group. May report an incident of discrimination on an online portal. Now, what will happen? Once this report has been filed, the equity committee, upon receipt of such information, shall meet within 24 hours to take appropriate action. Again, appropriate actions are not defined. Okay, go back to the definitions. If you will see, appropriate action is not defined. So those appropriate action could be anything. It could be a counseling session. It could be a one-to-one session with the student or that aggrieved person. So they will take what? They will take appropriate action. Now, if this equity committee wants, they can refer this matter to a committee which is made under any other regulation of UGC. If the equity committee feels that okay, that different committee can handle this matter properly, or they can handle this matter, they can also refer that matter to the some other committee also. Then, equity committee shall thereafter submit a report to the head of the institute within 15 working days. So, for 15 days, there will be investigation. And then the equity committee will submit a report to the head of the institute. And this report will also be given to the aggrieved person. Now, one thing which can be done here is, this report can also be shared with the accused person also. Maybe that will also create some sort of you can say a trust building exercise among the people who think they are being discriminated against, that this report will also be shared with them so that they can also go through what kind of crimes they have committed or not committed. Now, upon receipt of the report from the committee, the head of the institute shall initiate further action within 7 working days. So, within 24 hours, the equity committee will meet. Within 15 working days, they will submit their report to the head of the institute, and head of the institute, within 7 working days, he will make sure that appropriate actions are taken, okay, to initiate further actions. In the event any complaint is made against the head of the institute, the meeting of the equity committee shall be chaired by the coordinator of the UC. Again, just a normal procedure. Comes the important. If you think that there is a false case filed against you, a person aggrieved by the report of the equity committee. Now, suppose the committee finds you culpable. Committee finds that okay, you have committed a wrong. Then you are a person aggrieved by the report. You may prefer an appeal before the ombudsperson within 30 days from the date of receipt of such report. Now, the ombudsperson may appoint an amicus curiae, that is a friend, a lawyer friend, who will facilitate the hearing of the appeal. So, it does not mean that once a case is filed against a person, he will be found guilty and hanged. No, there are certain checks and balances which are there in the rules itself. So make sure before you get misled by anybody, you make sure that you have gone through the rules properly. I hope you like this video. If you did, please like, share and subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much for watching.